everyone for attending. I know everybody's got a lot of things going on. And so if you would, we're going to stand or maybe sit and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag that is currently behind Mr. Albert Young. So, Albert, would you like to lead it off since you have the flag directly behind you?
I'll let you do that. We don't want to damage protocol.
All right, you ready, guys?
I'm ready.
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag
of the United
United
States
States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Thank you, Albert.
Sir.
Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to do a roll call. Albert Yance.
Here.
David Harwood. Sue Sweeting. Doug Matheson.
Here.
And Virginia Powell.
Here.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay. Approval of
Get rid
minutes.
of that. Charlie, are we going? I can't hear for the echo.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay. Who made the first motion?
Albert.
Me, I believe.
Okay. Who made the second?
Virginia.
Okay. If you would, when we make a motion, please mention your name. And that way there'll be no question, okay? Albert, how do you stand? You in favor? Are you in favor?
In favor, yes.
David
Yes.
Harwood.
In favor.
Sue Sweeting.
Sue Sweeting in favor.
Doug Matheson.
Doug in favor.
Virginia Powell.
Virginia Powell in favor.
Okay, approval of the minutes. This April 14th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Sue Sweeting, so moved.
Doug second.
Okay. Albert Yance, are you in favor?
Yes.
David Harwood.
Yes.
Sue Sweeting.
Sweeting, yes.
Doug Matheson.
Doug, yes.
And Virginia Powell.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys. Moving forward, we approve the agenda. Public comments. Okay. I guess, Shane, we received 3. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. The first one was from Lee Rockamora. Dear council members, as a physician and researcher, I am puzzled by the council's decisions to diverge from the state over COVID-19 policy. As I understand it, a decision to diverge was made by the county, and in told council had an agreement to go along with it. The county health director evidently is the source for this policy. As best I can tell, she has no medical or epidemiology expertise. That's probably should have had Sue read this one.
Epidemiology.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate that. The easing of restrictions on May 22nd is supported by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services and includes the state health director and chief medical officer who has medical expertise as well as a degree in public health and is board certified. Unless there is information that COVID-19 cases are distinctively different in Waukegan County from the rest of the state, from my searches, I have read we are significantly lower rates of infection. I question if this is more restrictive policy is scientifically justified. Isolism is just another form of discrimination. I urge the council to seek expert medical opinion from a recognized qualified medical expert, either in this state or through the consultation with the CDC to justify its support of the county's divergent policy. Please confirm receipt, which we did. Lee Rockamora. Thank you, Lee. Next one. Let's see here. This is from Mr. Gupton with the Blowing Rocks Civic Association. On May 8th, we requested the town council include an agenda item for your meeting on May 12th to address additional county quarantine and short-term rental orders that impact the local citizens and lodging owners. But the topic was not included in the agenda. A copy of that request is below. The reason it was not is because I don't believe it came in soon enough, but we'll try to give this as much emphasis as possible. We are focusing this follow-up request and communication on the quarantine order that affects our homeowners. Others can address the short-term rental restrictions affecting lodging owners. In their May 5th meeting, the county cited support by the town of Blowing Rock to extend the quarantine order an additional 2 weeks after the governor lifts the stay-at-home order. The citizens of Blowing Rock have not had the benefit of hearing your views in a public forum or communication. We believe that the town should follow the governor's data-driven plan and timeline and not add additional restrictions that are at a minimum very confusing to the public and citizens. Homeowners returning to their homes in Blowing Rock are at lower risk group who are traveling from one stay-at-home location to another. We should use this window to allow for an orderly return before the short-term rental tourists return and respectively welcome our homeowners as citizens, not as higher risk tourists. The town should focus on managing the risk of the higher risk group of day tourists who have already returned, not the homeowners. Surrounding counties and towns are following the governor's plan and timeline, so we can expect additional day tourists from surrounding areas. The town obviously needs to provide bathrooms and supervise appropriate social distancing. We have the authority to set restrictions for Blowing Rock that do not follow the county. Therefore, we request that you schedule a meeting as soon as possible to vote on lifting the quarantine order when the governor lifts statewide stay-at-home order. If you choose to wait on the county to reevaluate the quarantine order at their May 19th meeting, then we suggest that you schedule a meeting now to be sure there is an appropriate window of time to vote if the governor decides to commence phase 2 on May 22nd. Okay, thank you, Mr. Gupton. All righty. And then the next one, this is from Greg Tarbutton. Dear Commissioners and Mayor, we would like to thank you for the thoughtful consideration and efforts that you have made to try to keep our town healthy and safe during this pandemic. We know that during this time you are having to spend considerable more time executing your duties than normal. With this in mind, we would like to offer the following thoughts and ideas for your consideration. We know that the state has a $3 billion rainy day fund, but due to the pandemic, they forecast a $1 billion shortfall. We are also aware that currently you are trying to avoid millage tax increases on your citizens. We applaud this as a considerable number of our fellow citizens are now enduring economic hardship due to being out of work. Even with the state and federal government assistance, unemployment funds will sooner than later fall short of the need. All of us know that with the forecasted shortfall statewide, town officials will be asked to do more for the citizens with less to do. So as elected officials, you are saddled with the expanded responsibilities and extremely limited revenue options. Citizens are concerned with our healthcare system being overrun, increased visitors causing grocery stores to run short of food, and bringing the virus up here. All are valid concerns. We would like to offer the following as one of the ways to help limit the spread of the virus and to help with the revenue shortfall. Cuyahoga County is the premier destination in the high country, and Blowing Rock is a must-visit destination. The Parkway, the Greenway Trail, Rocky Mountain Bike Park, said quality public golf courses, maybe that quality or quantity, I'm not sure, as well as numerous other well-maintained outdoor venues are well known. Our guests and visitors will come once the state ban is lifted. Our town and county has been closed. Yet last week, the Parkway and local trail parking lots were full of out-of-town plates. Folks staying in the surrounding counties and then coming back to Watauga increases greatly the chance of bringing the virus back here. If they are staying here in our lodging facilities that adhere to the American Hotel and Lodging Association's cleaning standards, the county benefits in several ways. First, we know that the cleaning standards exceed CDC guidelines. Second, staying in local hospitality businesses would allow for more of our restaurants to open, and that would alleviate pressure on our grocery stores as restaurants order food and produce from the purveyors. Third, limit the coming and going of the guests to our country from other counties means less, not none, but less cases of the virus. Many of our citizens are out of work. Getting them back to work would help them not only financially, but reduce depression and the feelings of powerlessness some are experiencing now. Last year, because of tourism, the county taxpayers saved $399.13. This year, it would mean more to our citizens than last year due to being out of work. Tourists spend $263,900,000, which provided payroll to our citizens of $62,370,000, generating local revenue for our county and our cities of $10,400,000. All of the above would mean that our county and city governments would have additional needed resources to help in this health and budget crisis. We would appreciate thoughtful consideration being given at your May 12th meeting to follow the Governor Cooper's plan in our neighboring counties and allowing the 14-day quarantine to expire, allowing our hospitality businesses to open May 22nd or 21st or 22nd. Sincerely, the undersigned citizens of Watauga County, Jim and Deborah McDowell, owner of the Mountain Air Inn and Log Cabins, Kent and Greg Carbutton, Controller Resort and Timber Lakes Restaurant, Ken Brackett, Victorian Inn, Bob and Cindy Milner, Bistro Roca and Gideon Ridge, Sharon Chrisman, Sunset and Vine Wines, Jim Pitts, CEO of Blue Ridge Mountain Club, Kenneth and Jess Weirman, Monkeys of Blowing Rock, Zach Amar, and TJ Morjansky. I think that we've all been inundated by so much, and it's been tough on all of us. I necessarily cannot totally speak for the council, but I will say this. Weeks ago, we agreed to follow Watauga County's restrictions in the effort to protect our citizens and our visitors. And ultimately, hopefully, to flatten the curve, I think, as they say it. And I feel like that, I know everybody has their place in this and their concerns, and everybody's lost huge amounts of revenue. I feel like that moving forward, we will, as a mayor and as council, I think what I've been told, we'll look at what the county does on their May 19th order or their May 19th meeting. They are going to listen to additional comments and recommendations. And then at such time, after their May 19th meeting, then if the council so chooses, then revisit this. So that's my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward. But I would like to thank all those that submitted those letters of concern and noting that the council and departments have done well. There will be, at the end of this meeting, all the council, of course, will be able to speak and give us their thoughts on moving forward. Okay,
Question of Shane.
Yes.
Question to Shane. Can I
Yes.
X out of this, agenda? I can't see anything but the agenda.
Albert, you may have closed your video preview somewhere along the way. You should be able to see both.
I'm gonna hit the X.
No,
uh-oh.
It got bigger.
don't hit the X.
Did it get bigger for you, Albert?
It did. That's all I see. So now I see Sue.
Well, that's good.
That's conjecture.
Okay.
You're in the laundry room.
Now all I see is one great big huge agenda, which I have here in front of me to look at.
Well,
And I can live with that. So
Oh, boy. Moving forward,
Okay.
we're moving into the public, in our public hearing. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
Sue, so moved.
Albert second.
Okay, shall I turn this over to Mr. Fox?
sure, absolutely. Public hearing, agenda item, speckled trout, CDP 2018-01. Mr. Kevin Rothrock is on the line, so I'll turn it over to Kevin if he would like to proceed with introducing the public hearing and the agenda for tonight.
I think Hillary is going to swear us in first. Myself and Erica and probably Eric.
Okay, everyone's on.
All right, Hillary.
Yes. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give to this body is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, I'm going to.
If I may say something, those that were sworn in might all state their names, please.
Brinker?
Eric Brinker with the speckled trout.
So Charlie, it's Erica Brinker and Eric Brinker with speckled trout.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay. This is an amendment to the conditional use permit 2018-01 for speckled trout. And they're requesting this amendment to renovate and expand their covered deck and the outdoor seating area. This property is at 922 Main Street and is zoned central business. The restaurant owners would like to expand the front deck 44 inches from its current location and construct a roof over the deck where it's currently a fabric awning. The proposed addition would encroach about 3 feet into the 15-foot setback. That setback, the 15-foot setback, is measured from the back of the proposed sidewalk along Main Street and 221, which is going to be constructed very soon. The restaurant is limited to 40 outdoor seats, and they're not proposing any additional outdoor seating. Just some of it will be relocated up on the expanded decking. I'll point out to you as well that the planning board, we met remotely on April 23rd, and the planning board made a recommendation of approval of this draft conditional use permit amendment, with the condition that the roof pitch of the deck roof not be less than what is shown in the packet, in the drawing, and as close to 6 and 12 as possible. But what you've seen in your packet represents pretty close to what they're going to do as far as the roof pitch. If it can be a little bit more to tie into the existing restaurant roof, they will. I had an opportunity to meet with just about all of you out there on site and explained how far they're coming out. And also that once they go horizontally at about 6 feet, then the business is back, or the addition is back inside the 15-foot setback. The land use code also allows an encroachment to no less than 10 feet for half of the building frontage, and so they would meet that criteria as well. I'd be glad to answer questions at this point because I know most of you, when I met with you, we went over a lot of the questions that you had and hopefully was able to answer those. So,
Kevin, do you want me to scroll down or show anything in particular?
Yeah, go to, there was a letter submitted by the Brinkers. You had opportunity to look at that, but go on down to the first drawing or diagram there. And you see the yellow line, as I explained to you on site. That yellow line represents the setback, and you can see it cuts right across the corner of the existing deck, and they're coming straight out from that, and that's the plans for the sidewalk. One question that was asked through over the past several days was about DOT's involvement and their sign off or their review of it, and I think I forwarded to each of you their response from Brandon Greer. Did not have any problems with the proposal. So, Shane, you can scroll through a couple more that might show the front of the building with some of the photos. Some of those I just took from Google Earth, so they're a little bit dated, but that one I took. And you can see the red line in this case represents the 15-foot setback, and you can see the corner in yellow where the addition is going to be brought out with the roof and the deck. And so it kind of cuts that corner a little bit, and then it gets back inside the 15-foot setback. That's a pretty close representation of the addition. I think it's right on it. So hopefully that helped you all understand what they're proposing is.
I have one question.
Okay.
This is Albert. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, sir.
I have a front elevation. I'm assuming it's just got, yeah, it's what it says, front elevation. It says 16, and it shows the existing and the future, the proposed. And there's no barrel on there for the barrel's gonna stay, isn't it?
Yes.
One barrel?
Yes.
Okay. So it just went missing, just go missing on the proposed plan, or is that right?
Yeah, I don't think they drew it in. They were just showing the actual building.
Okay, but it's gonna stay about where it is.
Yes, sir.
That's all. That does me.
Kevin, this is David.
Hey, David.
Hey, can you just give me a timeline of the sidewalk and in this construction? Will they be overlapping?
I hope they start the sidewalk tomorrow, but I don't know. I think they're within the next week or two. Doug might be able to come in.
The two shouldn't cause a problem for one another, right?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
David, this is Shane. I can tell you that the contracts have been signed. Obviously, the award went to Country Boy Landscaping. We're waiting on one last piece for the oversight with McGill and the DOT to sign off on that. So it may be within the next couple weeks, but the two will work together well.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, this is Doug. Could you elaborate just a little bit on the roof?
Yeah, it's just going to be a gable roof, as you see in that drawing right there. The awning will be gone, and they'll build a full-on roof covering over that deck and tie it back into the sloped roof that's coming off the main part of the restaurant. You understand? That good, Doug?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
This is Sue. Kevin, did you receive any comments from the public?
I did not, and did not for planning board either.
Okay.
Hey, Kevin, David again.
Okay.
I think I know the answer to this, but since the signage is depicted on the elevations, that will be a separate application, correct?
Did you say separate application?
Yes, I did.
Yes, it will be.
Okay,
Separate.
thank
Mr. Mayor,
Do we have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, this is Doug.
Yes, Doug.
If there's no further input for questions, and I vote that, or I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Sue,
Okay,
second.
Okay. Albert? You okay with that? Okay.
Yes, I'm okay.
David?
Yes, that's fine.
Sue?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And Virginia?
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Any further discussion?
If, Kevin, if you can explain what the separate application is about the sign on the front?
I didn't understand what you meant, Virginia. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Doug, David Harwood said, someone said that there would be a separate application for the sign that says the Trout.
Right.
Can you explain that to us, please?
We handle sign permit applications separately from conditional use.
Okay. So that would that come to us, or y'all just handle that internally?
Yeah, we'll handle the sign permit internally. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It doesn't look too big. I don't know. I'm
No.
sure y'all will take care of it.
Yeah, we certainly will.
Okay. Is there any further discussion now that we've closed the public hearing? Do I have a motion?
Doug, so made.
Motion to approve.
Second, Virginia.
Okay. We have a first, we have a second. Albert?
Can we have a discussion? This is Sue.
Yes, would you like further discussion, Sue?
Yeah, the seating with their new recommendations comes to 47 with those stools. So they just need to make sure that it's only 40, either limiting what they have or taking the stools out.
The conditional use permit addresses that, and we'll make sure through enforcement that make no more than 40.
All right. And the next thing is the roof going to be 44 inches as well? I was Sue.
Right. I remember you asking me that. The request was 44 inches, so they need to make the roof is part of that.
Okay. So they'll both be 44 with 3 foot into the right of way.
I would imagine that the deck railing may be back a little bit. Typically, they'd have a little bit more overhang. 44 inches. That's to the outermost portion.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Yeah.
Mayor Sellers, this is David.
Yes, David.
Just a point of order. Would the applicant like to speak?
We could go back to our public hearing section.
I'm good.
Okay.
One point I'd like to make is that sign that everybody's talking about is the same sign that's approved on the wall now. We're just moving it off the wall because you won't be able to see it anymore up to the roof.
Good. Yes.
Thank you, Eric.
That'll be fine.
Erica, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Albert?
Well, the aesthetic improvements will go out way any setback violations, and I vote yes.
Okay.
I vote yes.
Okay, David?
This is David. I vote yes.
Ms. Sweeting?
This is Sue. I vote yes.
Doug Matheson?
Doug, yes.
Ms. Powell?
Virginia Powell, yes.
Okay, so it passes, guys. All righty. Erica, I hope your sister's doing well, and if there's anything any of us can do, please let us know, would you?
Thank you very much. Thanks y'all for your time. Have a good one.
Be safe. Okay, moving forward, under business matters, we have the Brahms sculpture request. Ms. Brown. Jane, do we have Miss Brown on?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Jennifer, can you hear us?
She's muted.
She appears to be unmuted.
Well,
Can you unplug your headphones?
are you there, Jennifer? Jay, do you want to go over this?
I sure can. Making sure that she's unmuted first. It looks like she is.
Okay.
Jennifer, one last chance. Are you there? Jennifer Brown? Well, I'll be glad to.
Okay.
The Blowing Rock Art and History Museum has selected an artist to exhibit their outdoor sculpture for this year through the 34th Outdoor Rosen Sculpture Exhibition. Brahm will get insurance and will be bolted down to the existing concrete pad outside of Brahm. BRAC did meet remotely in April and approved the sculpture that I will show in just a moment unanimously. So let me scroll down and show you the picture first. And then I will show you the, go back up 1 second. Sorry, trying to do, Jennifer Brown says she apologizes, her microphone is not working. So, okay, so artist contact is Gretchen Lutz out of Orlando, Florida. The dimensions are 31 by 31. It's bronze and is part of the 2020 Rosen collection. I'll be more than happy to try to answer any questions, but I will say that I've not been fully versed on this particular piece of art too well. If you have any questions, I can hopefully get Jennifer on the phone if I need to.
Jane, you said that was 31 by 31.
That is what I am reading here. That is correct.
Is that 31 inches by 31 inches or 31 feet by 31 feet?
No, 31 by 31 would be inches.
Okay.
And I will say that Brahm approached us in February or March, and we did delay them 1 month to be able to get to BRAC in April for them to approve this.
Council, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the bronze statue. Sue.
Do we have a second?
David seconds.
Any further discussion? Okay. Albert?
Albert may have muted himself. Hang on just a second.
Unmute, Albert.
I'm coming. Albert's unmuted.
You unmuted? You hear me now?
Yes.
I say it looks like a seahorse without a saddle or head, but I can live with that, so I vote yes.
Okay, David Harwood, what's your feeling on this one?
David votes yes.
Okay. Sue Sweeting.
Sue votes yes.
Doug Mathis.
Doug votes yes.
And Virginia Powell.
Virginia says yes.
Okay.
Just for clarification, I've got some text here. It is smaller than what is there now, height-wise, and it will fit on the pad that's there currently. So there'll be no additional pad needed. So the pad that's there now, obviously, is sufficient. And the size appears to be 31 by 31.
All right.
Sorry for that. Technical difficulty.
All right, moving forward. We have an update on the Ad Hoc 321 committee. Mr. Rothrock.
Well, this will be brief. I sent the planning board the information again last week or a week and a half ago, and they've been responding back with some comments and recommendations. We're going to gather up again in a remote meeting next Thursday to discuss recommendations from the study. And then after that, we'll summarize that and get that back to you. I've had some good comments too. Good, helpful stuff.
Sue, any comments you'd like to make?
No, that's wonderful. Thank you. Because the recommendations were outlined, so I hope it made it easier.
It did.
For planning board.
Yeah, I had them focus on those recommendations. I think it's page 23. We've got some good comments back, and we want to discuss it in a meeting like this, I guess.
Okay. And you'll update us monthly at our meetings?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, does anybody have any other comments on the 321 committee? Sounds like they're going to update us, which is great. And thanks again for Sue and others that spearheaded that. Moving forward, not even dark out yet. What we'll do under official reports and comments, I'll just go to each one of you and ask for your comments, and we'll just go from there. Okay. As mayor, I commend all of you. This has been tough. It's not over. We're not sure when it'll be over, but I would like to commend all of you for gosh, I mean, we've been through a lot. We're going to go through more, and I know our prayers go out to those that have lost loved ones. Our prayers go out to our people on the front lines. But that being said, on kind of a bright note, I spoke with JED this evening before our meeting with the Blue Ridge Parkway. They are opening the Blue Ridge Parkway on Friday, our section, which is phase 2 for them. They could not get the restrooms up and running because of maintenance required and personnel requirements, which they don't have the personnel to take care of all the restrooms nor the maintenance. So on Monday, they are going to bring in porta-johns and portable hand washing stations at Bass Lake. Hopefully that'll alleviate some of the traffic flow for personal hygiene in our town. So that's an update. they're hoping to have the restrooms open at Bass Lake a week at the earliest. 2 weeks probably is more feasible. So that's an update on the Blue Ridge Parkway. That's all I have. So, Albert?
Well, Charlie, I have a question. And I thought I've got a mail from Shane. He was going to speak to maybe pricing of porta johns. Are we going to do that today or not? You know, is that going to be discussed or not?
Well, I'll say something and I'll pass it off to Shane. Really, what is the purpose of porta johns versus the restrooms that we currently have? It does not relinquish any or relieve us of any liability at all. So
aren't ours closed? Ours are closed, aren't they?
That's correct. So Shane, would you like to go ahead and respond to Albert, or wait till your time?
Why don't we wait? If you don't mind, let's wait till all of us comment, okay, and then let's hear from Shane.
Yeah, is that okay with you, Shane?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. What other comments do you have, Albert?
Well, you know, I just want to say I'm not a member of the intelligence, epidemic intelligence service, but I have confidence in the ones that the president has and the one the governor has, and I just have to hang my hat on what those people really are saying to us. I would hope that we would think about, and it doesn't have to be done tomorrow, Shane, but I hope we can think about having you to come up with some plans for, quote, the next epidemic. Hopefully we don't have, but we may. They would include, you know, some things we might want to inventory in pretty good number: gloves, face masks, hand sanitizer, signage, any additional rules or regulations that you can come up with that we might need. Develop restroom sanitation guidelines of the restrooms we have, and take a look at the configuration of the interior restrooms so we can what socially distance may be in them. And that's just where I am with that. So I'll wait on your remarks about the porta johns. I'm a very big advocate of, I sure do think we do need some additional restroom facility in town. I mean, when you have to go, you don't want to go out to the Bass Lake. That's putting it bluntly.
Thank you, Albert. Mr. Harwood.
Thank you, Mayor Sellers. I just want to say that I'm extremely appreciative of Shane and his staff. I want to applaud each department head that I see on my screen this evening and those that I don't see. The town staff, our town has come through this without any of our services being interrupted, and that's or having to furlough any town employees. And I just think that's amazing. I really want to compliment the leadership that Shane has shown, and that the department heads and all of the town staff have really stepped up during this. And I'm very appreciative of that. I also want to thank all the comments that I got from the public this past week. I've spent a lot of time on the phone and on emails, and I respect everybody's opinion. And I think that the path that we're on right now is the best one for us. And until I see data that changes that opinion, I think we need to follow through. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens on May 19th. And we'll follow up afterwards. And then I'll save my comments if I have any for the bathroom discussion later.
All right, thank you, David. Ms.
Thank
Switzer?
you.
This is Sue. I want to thank Shane and actually all our town workers for their professionalism and their approach to COVID-19. I passed a truck today and the worker employee smiled at me and waved. And I thought, boy, I'm impressed. I am would like to talk about what I saw this weekend. And when I walked downtown and rode around. On Saturday, I saw 20 masks. 3 of those were on other council people's face. Rare social distancing, very limited. Sunday on Shops on the Parkway, their bathrooms are open, but only 1 mask. Their unwound yarn, their bathrooms are both locked, and one has an out of order sign. And Kevin, this is to you because that is required in their CUP. The other thing is, I think David Barker was so slammed with people that he has put a bathrooms are closed sign on his on the market. The chamber was not open to anyone to go to the bathroom, and they were closed on Sunday. So I did see somebody relieve themselves at Brom because they could not get into the bathrooms. And I think we need to address that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mr. Mathis?
Yes, I too think that the services and the department heads have really been great during this. It's gave us a sense of stabilization through all this to see the employees out working and doing the job that they've been doing. A couple of suggestions that I'd heard through the walkabout over the weekend and talking with businesses. One is maybe a couple of places in town that we offer some sanitizing stations. A lot of people thought that would be nice. I look to the governor and I tend to follow what the governor and what his health people are saying, and I'm hoping, and we'll know more May 19th on hoping seeing how we're going to move forward in phase 2.
Thank you, John. And Ms. Virginia Powell.
I applaud everyone. It's great to see y'all's faces, even on these small little thumbnail screens. Thank you all for what everyone is doing. I just wanted to say that sometimes we get, I think, and maybe it's because we're alone more. It's a pandemic. I don't think any of us would have predicted this or would want to be in this situation. But I think if we can keep focused that we are fighting a virus, we're not fighting each other. We're all here to work together. And I think the county, working with the managers and the health department, have done a beautiful job with that. And so if we can stay focused on that, I think we'll ride the waves. They're going to come, and I think we can ride them together and come through this thing safely on the other side. I had someone reach out. You guys know Jessica Clearwater and Devin Lacey. Shane, I don't know if you were able to put those pictures in or not. I'm not sure. They have requested, and you can send them, we can send them to the council member later. But it's kind of, I kind of want to plant a seed with you guys. When I was walking around this weekend too, our businesses are having to change things and move in different ways to keep their doors open. And Jessica asked if she could do, her catering business is not allowed, basically, because, you know, groups of 10 or more aren't allowed to gather. It's really impacted her business. And she's reached out to ask if we could look at a food truck or, and then Devin has a flower truck. So I don't know about the meeting some of our businesses being able to pay their rent, and they might need to go smaller and morph into different things. I just hope that we can all keep some open minds as we move forward into different ways that we can help our businesses. And also, a lot of them had talked about going online and get them whatever information they need about the dark fiber and when that's in place and how that can help their businesses, because that's something that we set in place certainly to help the businesses. So I'm just planting a couple little seeds about, you know, how let's be open in the next few months or year, and help our businesses stay open. And it might look very different, and let them try a few new things.
Good thoughts, Virginia. Thank you. Mr. Alan Mosley. Mr. Mosley.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I don't have any comments. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. Shane Fox.
Certainly. I'll answer questions in just a minute. Let me start and echo, I think, what each of you have said. It's definitely unfair to give me a tremendous amount of thanks. It really goes down to each one of the department heads and each one of the employees within the town. The most amazing thing, and I think I made this comment last month, there's been no complaints during this time. So from the individuals that are working in the police and fire and public works departments that are considered and have been considered essential from day one, no complaints whatsoever from those folks coming into work. No issues. Glad to do so. See it as an honor. For the other individuals in park and rec and admin and finance, planning, etc., who have had to change things remotely or working in different areas that they're not accustomed to, again, no complaints. I think it's a testimony that all 67 are full-time employees have been working from day one, and each one of them have found a way to contribute every single day without a single complaint that I've fielded. So where others, and I'm sure in other areas, may have not had similar examples shown, the town of Blunt Rock and the 67 employees that we worked with each day and that work for us and we work for them have shown tremendous leadership. So the leadership part has been easy. It's been on cruise control because of those individual employees. Again, not a single complaint in the last 2 months during this time. Had a chance to be a part of the Boone Chambers forum, first Friday forum this past Friday. And I made a couple comments, opening comments during that particular forum. It's now been 2 months since we began this process. So on March the 12th, which was exactly 2 months ago, we had a chance to meet with all the stakeholders within Watauga County, the managers of the county, the managers of the town, the hospital, the health department, law enforcement, all met on a Thursday, which was the 12th of March, and decided to establish a task force or group. And obviously at the time, we did not know the length or the importance of that group. But since then, that particular group has met 6 and 7 days a week, originally in person, and then that changed to remote meetings, of course, like we're all used to now. But now we're approximately 60 days into those meetings, and it's been a tremendous asset. So I would say my appreciation to that group has been tremendous. And what that group's been able to do is be not only a sounding board to each individual town and county and establishment that they represent, but also being a voice. And so that's been an important group to have. And so as we've met and been able to discuss things on a daily basis, each one of us have been able to go back and share that with our councils and our commissioners and our establishments. And that's been a tremendous asset. So thank you to the employees and to the department heads for your leadership. And thank you to the Watauga County Task Force for being such an important role during this time. Several things that came up recently, and it came up Friday during the forum conversation. The county commissioners met a week ago today, and they met in the morning. They met at 8:30. They have an 8:30 morning meeting once a month and a 5:30 afternoon meeting. During that 8:30 morning meeting, the decision was made to continue with the current restrictions that are in place. The 14-day quarantine of the seasonal homeowners or anyone individual coming to the town or to the county, and then the continued restriction of our short-term rentals. And that was decided at that meeting to go until the second week of phase 2. Phase 1 obviously began last Friday. Phase 2 begins as the governor sees fit. It could be as early as next Friday, the 22nd, or it could be as late as he chooses and his team chooses. But that meeting was held at 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday, the 5th. Later that afternoon, the governor obviously began phase 1, and then later that night and later that evening, Ash and Avery lifted those restrictions. Discussions began early on that night and the following day, Wednesday the 7th or the 6th, to potentially rediscuss and have have that particular agenda item placed back on the 19th county commissioner meeting agenda, and that is the case. And so what's been said here by several of you is true. The 19th, the plan for the county commissioners, as I've been told, is to have a review once again of that particular agenda item with regards to potentially lifting the restrictions. And so the county commissioners will meet on the 19th at 5:30 and discuss the potential amendment, if any, of the restrictions with short-term rentals and the 14-day quarantine that's been put into place. So just want to make sure that everyone's clear on those items and kind of what the timeline is there. Couple updates quickly before we get into the bathroom discussion, because I think that may take a few moments. But we've mentioned a couple things here today, a couple projects with Bass Lake. We mentioned that earlier. That is still moving forward. A little delay with DOT and a requirement there that we needed to fulfill. And DOT obviously being in a situation where I think things are taking a little bit longer right now with furlough employees and et cetera. So we're working through those, but things are still on as planned. There's been no change there, just a delay. As we found, COVID-19 has delayed some things, of course. The paving project that was approved in March, a pre-construction meeting took place yesterday, and Moretz Paving, who was the winning bid, plans to start next week, the 18th. What we have asked for is a detailed schedule of their work plan. They are going to provide that to us in the next day or two, and that will include 2-week snippets of work with the streets that they have planned for those 2 weeks. And so once we have that information and Miguel has that information, we'll post that on our website and we'll send that out to everyone in our newsletter, et cetera. But the paving is on a schedule starting next week, and we'll provide everyone with 2 schedules with what streets are to be worked on during those 2 weeks. So that's still moving forward. The playground, as you've noticed since last month's meeting, the playground obviously has been removed. A big thank you to our Park and Rec staff. During this time, they found themselves maybe with a little bit of extra time to be able to go in and remove that and start with some of the drainage work and foundation work that needed to take place. And that's been a tremendous asset. The playground company will be on site Monday, the 18th. So this coming Monday, and they will begin the foundation work, footer work, etc., with the equipment to be delivered the week of the 25th, Memorial Day, that Tuesday, the 26th. So you'll start seeing footers and concrete, etc., going in next week, and you'll see equipment being delivered on the 26th, and installation will begin just as quickly as they can. So that project is moving on very well. One more update. I've been asked by several folks about hanging baskets. The hanging baskets are still coming. The weather that we've had recently has maybe frightened Mr. Chris Pate a little bit. So those will be going in the week after next. So the week of the 25th, Memorial Day week. I lean on his expertise there for when he puts those up, and obviously, so he is looking to put those up Memorial Day week is the timeline that I've been given for those. But hanging baskets will be on as normal. Obviously, the flowers and plantings in town are already looking gorgeous, and hopefully we didn't lose too many with the most recent cold snap. And then one more update before we turn it over to the bathroom conversation. Didn't mention earlier, as I mentioned with the county and the task force, locally with the chamber and the TDA, we've been meeting every so many days, 3 or 4 days, and having conversations, and that's been a huge help in talking through the things that are taking place in Blowing Rock. We met today, again, virtually, of course, with Charles Harden and Tracy Brown. And the items that we discussed today were with regards to the upcoming weekend. How can we be more diligent with getting out the message that we're obviously still under phase 1, the recommendations there, social distancing, etc. So we've got a plan for this upcoming weekend. Signage. Potentially we'll be going up some sandwich boards throughout town, reminding folks of what the current guidelines are. So we're working with the chamber and the TDA on helping with some advertising and signage there. Along with just as we receive complaints or receive suggestions, we're paying visits, to those particular stores or shop owners. And if we see individuals on the street, just trying to remind them of what the current guidelines are. As for the restrooms, so obviously, currently the restrooms are closed. Memorial Park restrooms and the Brom and Devant Field restrooms are all 3 closed. Coming into this meeting, Ms. Jennifer Brown and I have discussed at length several different options. One, obviously, being the porta-johns that were mentioned earlier and what that would look like, not only from a cost perspective, but how would we keep those clean and sanitized. Talking with the companies that obviously rent those and what their current procedures are right now. During that discussion, obviously, it came up with another option of opening up our current bathrooms and what that would look like, maybe from a cleanliness standpoint, hours of operations, etc. And so what we have discussed internally is that it makes more sense for us from a cleanliness standpoint to open up Memorial Park bathrooms versus porta-johns at this time. And one factor that plays heavily into that is that we have a cleaning company that has worked with us for a number of years that will clean those restrooms for us as part of the contract we have now. There's been some credits that we've been able to accumulate during this time because of things not being cleaned as normal. And so we have that cleaning crew willing to begin as early as this Saturday with cleaning the Memorial Park bathrooms several times a day. So we would not have those obviously cleaned on the hour or sooner, but we're looking at approximately 3 times a day. We're thinking that an abbreviated timeline would be something like 10 to 6 or 11 to 6 for those bathrooms to be open versus the full day. Not sure that we have a need to have those open. But as of now, the discussion internally would be to open those bathrooms with an abbreviated schedule. Like I said, maybe 10 to 6 would be something we propose, or 11 to 6, similar to what the shops are open. And at least for the current time, having our cleaning company come in several times per day to clean those restrooms and stock those restrooms as needed. And that would be a part of, like I said, the current contract we have with them. I'd be glad to hear feedback, discussions, offer.
What days are you, this is Sue. What days are you talking?
We would begin Saturday, and the plan would have those open 7 days.
7 days?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can they clean the porta-johns?
We did not ask if they could clean the porta-johns. The porta-john companies themselves, that is not something they offer. They offer once a week sanitation for the price of $67 per porta-john per month. So we were looking internally at potentially cleaning those. We have not asked for them to clean the porta-johns, but we certainly can ask if that's an option.
Well, I didn't hear the cost of the porta-johns.
$67 per porta-john per month.
Per month?
Per month.
Per porta-john.
And then how about the hand washing stations?
From a porta-john, they offer sanitize, hand sanitizer. They're running water, obviously.
Yeah, that's in the porta-john.
That's right.
Now, there is a separate, like a standalone hand sanitizing station that porta-john companies offer. Is that what you're talking about, Sue?
They're actually in the porta-john.
No, I know they are, but there's an extra thing. It looks like a water fountain almost that is that I've seen before. That's separate from the toilet.
Right.
It's just for hand sanitizers, and maybe that was what Doug was asking for along Main Street. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
Go ahead.
I'm excited to hear that the Parkway is going to help out with putting bathrooms at Bass Lake. I'm going to email them and ask them to put a bathroom at Price Lake and at Linville too. You can see the flow. We saw the flow. It's almost like a faucet turning slower when they shut those spigots around Blowing Rock. So now that they're going to be open again on Friday, I appreciate that they're hearing our need with the porta-johns there, and maybe they can open a few more. That's my biggest fear this weekend is the gates open on the Parkway.
Doug, I think you had a comment.
Okay. One of the things I was going to say, personally, I like our bathrooms better, the park bathrooms. We have running water, we have sinks, we have all that. What I was going to ask is, will we be able to open up the bathrooms at Brum also, or are we just going to open the ones in the park?
Our internal plan was to start with the ones in the park and see how that process worked this first weekend. And as we get to phase 2, potentially the following weekend, we would address that. Just making sure that we can handle the crowds and handle the cleaning, et cetera, before we opened up 2 locations. But before Memorial Day weekend, that would be something that we would obviously put into place. Absolutely.
This is Sue. Can we get Unwound Yarn to open their bathrooms?
We can have that discussion. Absolutely.
Shops on the Parkway did a really good job with circles and doing social distancing, because we're going to need those in both of the bathrooms if we're going to choose to do that.
Yes, we've talked. We as in Jennifer Brown and I have talked about signage, not only on the bathrooms themselves, but signage outside, obviously on the interior doors and the exterior doors. Maybe tape on the ground to help individuals know, where the lines are. bathrooms are difficult to know until you're in them, how many individuals are in each one of the bathrooms. Obviously, that's not something we have turnstiles or et cetera to be able to keep track of. But definitely the importance of signage, the importance not only inside but on the outside is going to be key. And then potential markings around the area would be something we would do. But I think again, communication is key with signage.
I think,
Go ahead.
I think also with being able to do this, if that this will help. I think David will also get his at the market back open, because there will be more bathrooms spread out, because he just said he was just getting slammed. He couldn't even get customers into the market because of the line for the bathroom. And I think with this, we can get those bathrooms. He'll be able to open those back up. So I think we'll hopefully that will spread out enough to where we're back close to usual on that.
Sue, again, are we going to rope off the picnic tables in the park? People were using those with picnics and coolers, and
we had those caution taped off. We can definitely redo the caution tape if the caution tape is blown off, etc.
Okay.
Well, now under the current order, the governor's order, aren't people allowed to picnic with families in a park? I'm asking. I don't know.
We currently under our current order from Watauga County, state of emergency, that was signed on March the 29th. It closed all public park facilities, playgrounds, picnic shelters, courts, and that is until further notice. And so technically, that state of emergency order is still into place, and we can send it to that as the town. So that is maybe what Ms. Sweeting is referring to, is that the picnic shelters were deemed similar. Picnics on the ground, picnics in the grass, etc. Is still allowed, but the picnic shelters themselves were a part of that state of emergency signed on the 29th. They closed the court. I have spoken to the county, and I've spoken to the towns about the potential of us opening the bathrooms to let them know that our plans may include that. They understand we're in a very unusual situation where our bathrooms are very centrally located to the town, where others may not be. Parks within the county are currently completely closed, and so those facilities will not reopen until the county says otherwise. And it makes sense, obviously, for them not to open those facilities if the facilities themselves are closed. And so they understand from a Main Street proximity and commercial, merchant standpoint, our need and what our needs are, which do differ from the other places within Watauga County. So they are not against us doing this, I should say.
Sue, Boone does not have any public restrooms in their downtown, number one. And what about the pool bathrooms?
We are not planning on opening.
Is the water turned off?
The water is turned off at the Vant. Yeah, we would more than likely, on our current plan, open with the Memorial Park bathrooms this weekend, followed by Brom, and then eventually followed by the Devant Field bathrooms.
How about the pool?
The pool. So the pool discussion and the bathrooms and the pool as a whole is still up in the air right now from a discussion standpoint of how and what that will look like. The water to the pool is still off. It's currently off. We have not turned that back on. So the pool will not open as of right now on Memorial Day weekend. It will be thereafter or at all. So we're working again, with the county and their pool, and working with the health department and trying to figure out which phase we're in and the timing of that phase of how we can properly open the pool, social distancing, etc. So the pool opening and the water obviously being turned on in the bathrooms, etc. are still in somewhat limbo right now as we work through the process of phases.
Shane, this is David.
Yes, sir.
First, I appreciate you looking into this and Jennifer looking into the various options. I think what I'm hearing is a general consensus is we want to get facilities provided in whatever form that is. But I don't think we need to micromanage as a council this. So I'm comfortable with whatever you decide and whatever the staff's capacity is to do this.
Thank you, sir.
This is Albert. I applaud David and agree with him fully. I would like to announce that the American Legion services for Memorial Day have been canceled. And that's sort of sad because working through BRCA, they had found a veteran, a local veteran, and have a dog, a companion dog, and they were going to present that through a retired general Memorial Day. That's been postponed and rescheduled for Veterans Day, which is November 11th. So I hope you'll disseminate that information.
All right, moving forward, I agree with what David Harwood said. I think that we don't need to micromanage. We need to leave this up, the bathroom situation, up to Shane and the department heads. And I don't think there's any bad decisions made. You may always question some decisions, but I think everybody's done a great job. I really do.
This is David. I have one follow-up question for Shane. Shane, are you done with your report? I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
I have a follow-up question on the playground.
Yes.
I know that we had an initial timeline and we were looking to complete that by July 4th. Are we still on track for that, or has that been amended?
It has not currently been amended, so we're still looking for the 1st of July as having that completed. We had said the 4th originally. I don't know if that particular date is still the date, but it's around the first week of July. Absolutely, we're still on plans. Or still on task, weather dependent, of course, obviously how wet, how rainy, etc. But yes, we are not delayed with the current playground project. That is not something we've been delayed on at all. So it is moving extremely close to the original schedule. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. And the last thing I had for you is, can we requisition a new microphone for Jennifer?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other comments, any other questions for Shane?
This is Doug. Yes. This is for Shane, or for maybe for everybody. Should we think about having a special meeting also, being the county is having one, to where we can make a decision following whatever the county decides?
I'm in favor of that. If I think that if the county decides to relax their restrictions, then so be it. Unless the council wants to stand with the current restrictions. I think moving forward, their meeting is at 5:30 on Thursday. Is that correct? No,
Tuesday the 19th.
We could either look at a proposed meeting for that evening or the next day, whatever you all prefer. If you'll just let me know, or let Shane know, we can make that happen.
We need 48 hours notice.
Okay. What I'd recommend is everybody get with Shane, get with myself, and say Thursday. That would be this Thursday or Friday. Would that not be correct?
Yeah, 48 hours notice.
And go ahead, Albert. I'm sorry.
Is it? You said this Thursday?
What's your thoughts, Shane?
My thoughts would be that if we were to have a special meeting, the timing of that would be more than likely next Wednesday or Thursday. Let the county obviously meet. I think scheduling one that night would not maybe be probably the move that I would make, given the fact we're not sure of the length of the meeting. But if we were to put a special meeting into place, we would just need a 48-hour notice. And so if we could schedule that on Monday if we chose to, or Tuesday, and do it Thursday, it's a 48-hour notice. And so that is up to the council. It does not harm us to have a special meeting and go ahead and schedule it for next week with this particular topic in mind. So I will follow the council's pleasure. But if we wanted to put one on the books for next Wednesday or Thursday, then I think that's justified.
Okay. I'm in favor of having one next Wednesday at 5:30 or 6 if the council so wishes.
And announce it tonight.
I think we might, depending on what they say, we might need a little more time to hear from the community. So I would say Thursday. But I mean, Shane, it's up to you. I just, I think that meeting's going to go long on Tuesday, and then people need to kind of. I have no idea how it's going to go either way, but people need to kind of digest it, and that's why I would like one more day. Thursday would be great.
Do we have a planning board meeting that night, Thursday?
We do.
Oh, well, that's not good then. Another time on Thursday? What's y'all's schedules look like?
We're gonna go at 5:30 again for planning board. If y'all want to go at 7, or I can't imagine us going more than an hour and a half.
I think with Sue working, it would probably be hard to do anything until after 5, right, Sue?
Actually, Sue, I'm on a light schedule that week. So I could actually, but if we have to give 48 hours notice, well, we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and set it up now. So I can do it anytime, actually. Morning's probably not as good because I usually go in and check my work. So we can have it earlier if you wanted.
I would either myself, it doesn't make any, either Wednesday or Thursday. I just feel like, one, the earlier that we're able to have it will allow deciding on whatever we decide to do, will let other people know going for the weekend, how to plan for the weekend, whether it's businesses or whatever. I don't want to push it too late and being able to let a lot of others know something. So I'm for, Wednesday evening, Thursday as early as possible for that, because I know a lot of other people will have some planning also to do.
You talking like 4 or 5 on Thursday?
No, Wednesday. Can't do 5 on Thursday because of planning.
How about 3? That'll give the public time to give us comments.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'm flexible. Anytime. I agree with Virginia.
Doug, you want to make that motion?
Go ahead, Dave. That's fine.
It was your idea.
I make a motion that we have a meeting Thursday, a special meeting, WebEx, I guess, Mr. Manager, at 3
Yes.
o'clock.
You have a second?
Second.
Sue and Virginia, take your pick. Shane?
Yes.
This is Sue. I hate to bring up this topic, but do you have a time frame for budget review?
Yes, we do. We are looking, again, remotely, to have a a couple dates in mind towards the end of this month, probably the week of the 25th, 26th, later in that week. As you know, and I think I've shared with each of you, Ms. Norman has been working tirelessly over the last couple months. The plans and the work that went into the original efforts within the budget obviously changed fairly drastically from the late February, early March timeframe to now. And so Ms. Norman did send to me a draft of the budget today or yesterday that has taken into account the changes that each one of the department heads have made over the last few weeks. So from a public's perspective, let me just quickly do a recap, was that we gave our department heads, Ms. Norman gave the department heads and I until early mid-March to have department budgets in place. Obviously, those were received. We were actually reviewing those on the 12th and 13th and 14th, and the 16th. As we made changes, obviously for COVID-19, those were put on hold. Several weeks after that, each one of those budgets were sent back to the department heads with a request for them to reevaluate their budget request, obviously given the current issues that we're dealing with. Those issues most notably being a pretty substantial decrease in at least a couple of our revenue options that we have, sales tax and our hotel and motel tax. And so we gave each department until last week to resubmit those requests, and they did so. So we've received those. We've now put those into the obviously full budget, looking not only at the department expenses, but looking at the revenues and fees. And so I currently have a draft, and we plan on reviewing that as the week goes on. So we'll have those dates. We'll be on schedule. We'll have review this month, hopefully no later than the week of the 25th, and then we'll be prepared to publicly, obviously, present that and have that well within the statutes. Right now, I can say publicly that we have a budget that does not propose increases within the revenues or the fees or the property taxes as we have right now. So we're looking at ways internally that we can potentially offset the decrease in the revenues. And so again, I can't tell you the number of hours, but Ms. Norman has been working probably on her most difficult budget, I'm sure just like everywhere else that she's ever worked on. And it's been a pretty Herculean effort on her behalf to put together a budget. So long answer to a short question, I guess, but we'll have a budget ready soon and get those dates on the calendar for the public to know.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Do we have any other questions for Shane, comments?
Let me just make sure I understand. Next Thursday, we're calling a special meeting at 3 o'clock, and the subject will be COVID-19 restrictions. Is that correct?
I don't think we voted on the motion.
What?
We haven't voted on the motion.
I would say all those in favor or against, but once again, Albert.
Yes.
Okay. David.
Yes.
Okay. Sue Sweeting.
And the motion that we're talking about is the town council special meeting, May 21st at 3 o'clock.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Doug.
Doug, yes.
Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. So we are scheduled for a meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock. And Shane will take care of making the formal announcement.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You will provide us with the county's, decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. If no one else has anything, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Albert, so moved.
Albert.
Second, Sue.
Okay. I hope everybody has a great evening. And
Thank you. Thank you, council and employees. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Thank you,
week.
Thomas, for setting this up.
Thank you, Thomas.